Welcome to Your Lot and Parcel podcast with your host, Benjamin Diaz, designed strictly for you, the consumer. You will find that this platform has your best interests at heart.
Thank you for joining our show today. This is Benjamin Diaz, your host. No matter where you and I live, we are subject to unexpected disasters. Our guest today speaks to how we can mitigate sudden catastrophe. She is a chartered property casualty underwriter and the director of strategic communications for the Insurance Information Institute. Let's welcome Janet Ruiz. Janet, thank you for being in our show, taking time to visit with us, and I really appreciate what you folks are doing, and that's information based on the insurance industry. Would you be speak to the point of what the objective of your organization is all about, Janet?
Thanks, Ben. It's so nice to be here with you this afternoon. I represent the Insurance Information Institute. We're a nonprofit insurance trade association for property and casualty insurance. We are supported by the insurance industry, and our main goal is to help the public understand insurance, what it does and how it works.
There you go. Good. I think it's a wonderful service because there's many things that a buyer of a home may want to know. They're all caught up in buying the home, and sometimes the insurance is not looked at as closely as really they should. So let me ask you this, as far as a consumer, what are some of the insurance mistakes we want to avoid, Janet?
Well, it's really important when you're insuring a home to insure it for its real estate, not to insure for its real estate value, but rather for the cost of rebuilding. So when you look at your home cost to rebuild, it's going to be what the actual amount of money a contractor, materials, etc., at the time you rebuild it. And the real estate value can be more or less depending on what the market is like. So it's super important to know what it would cost to rebuild your home. A good way to do that is to check in every year or two with local contractors. Just get an estimate of, generally what are people spending per square foot. And then you think about your particular home. Do I have a lot of expensive amenities? Do I have granite countertops or any special features? And then add on for that. So that's not the place you want to go cheap, because if your home were to burn down or be blown apart by a hurricane or flooded, you want to be able to rebuild the home exactly as it was.
Good. Very good. I appreciate great points. How can deductibles affect the cost, Janet?
So when you pick your deductible, it's a good way to save money. You might raise your deductible, like say if you had a $500 deductible, go to $1,000, or maybe you're at $1,000 and you could really afford $2,000. It's important that you can afford what the deductible will be, but you could save up to 25% on your premiums by raising your deductible a little bit higher.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You'd have to budget that in. You want to make sure you do have able to cover the deductible if there is an incident. How do you select an insurance company, and even as to whether they're solvent?
Well, the important thing is to not select an insurance company by price alone. Choose a company with competitive prices, but be sure that your insurer that you do choose is financially sound, and there's a few ways to do that. Financially sound and good customer service. So you can look on some of the rating sites And you can also look at your Department of Insurance site for your state. So if I'm in California, I would go to the California Department of Insurance site, and I can look up any insurer that's part of the landscape of the state of California. I can find out if they're financially sound, and I can find out if they have complaints.
There you go. Good. I like that. Yeah, do your research and you'll be in case of something down the road happens. Sometimes you do need, and flood insurance is another policy that lenders require. What can you tell us about flood insurance,
Well,
Janet?
flood insurance is not part of your standard homeowner's
Hmm.
insurance, and that's very important to understand. Neither is earthquake. So if you live in a flood plain, and those are designated by the National Flood Insurance Program, and you can look all that up on a computer, or you can check with your realtor. They'll usually be aware as well. If you're in a floodplain, then probably your mortgage company is going to require you to buy flood insurance. If you're not in a floodplain that's designated, you still may want to have flood insurance because 25% of the floods happen in non-designated floodplains. So they're moderate risk, and for that reason, the insurance is quite a bit less expensive. But great to be able to repair your home after a flood for sure.
Yes. Um, I know I've come across elevation certifications that can mitigate the flood cost on that. How does that work?
Usually, the specific instructions will be a certain height that
Hmm.
you need to have the home raised to. And if you're buying a home outright, you may not want to buy a home that isn't at the right height already. So that's something to ask your realtor or check on the NFIP website on the maps to find out before you purchase the home. But the less expensive flood insurance rates are generally when you have raised your home to whatever specific there are for that particular region.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Because growing up, I grew up in a farm, and oh yeah, we lived in a floodplain area. We get the runoff from the hills, mountains, particularly Mount Whitney, which is the highest peak in all the 48 contiguous states. So a lot comes off of there. And I remember, I remember the vineyards being flooded, the farms, open ground, and so forth. So lots of things to consider when you're looking to buy or purchase a home. How about community rates? Would that help if you move into a community where everybody's cooperating?
Um, Communities have a lot of mitigation efforts going on. I see that a lot in the wildfire prone areas
Yes.
and the hurricane prone areas. So when communities get involved in a wildfire area, there's a program called the Firewise USA program. It's
Hmm.
by the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA out of Boston. And it's an excellent program to bring the community together to make sure that areas are cleared and people have made improvements on their homes, etc. Um,
Hmm.
those community programs are super important for any homeowner who faces a specific risk like wildfire. And they really offer you a lot of helpful tips.
Hmm.
That could impact your rates in a positive way. It's very important to discuss this with your insurance company and find out what they offer on the discount and as far as any rates for mitigation work. Hurricane areas, there's a program called Fortified Homes.
Yes.
And this is by the Insurance Business Institute for Business and Home Safety. I, B as in boy, H as in Henry, S, IBHS.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of great information on their website, which is ibhs.org. And they're also supported by the insurance industry to do research on
Yes.
building and how you can build your home safer. So they have a lot of wildfire information, a lot of hurricane information,
Yes.
etc.
We are visiting with Janet Ruiz, the Director of Strategic Communications for the Insurance Information Institute, and she is sharing information in how we can protect our family and home from sudden disasters. Okay, very good. You know, how about this? Consolidating your coverage to one insurer, such as your auto and everything. Would that mitigate your cost?
That can definitely help you save money. You know, if you've been with one insurer
Yes.
quite a while, and we call it bundling, you bundle your policies.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a discount for that. You can get discounts for having been with an insurance company for a long time and not having a lot of claims.
Yes.
There's many ways like that to save money on your insurance. And I think people make it simpler. They call the same agent and talk to the same claims people when they do that. So it can be very helpful in many ways.
Yeah. It's good to know. Of course, maybe a listener may be tuned in and say, well, I rent. I don't need any insurance. Would that be a valid statement?
No, it's exactly the opposite. We find that renters who go through any type of catastrophe or even a fire in their apartment building are always happy to have insurance because, for one, you're going to replace all your items, everything that you own, and your landlord has no obligation to replace anything that you own. You're also going to have the opportunity to go somewhere else while the apartment building is
Yes.
built or repaired, and it gives you liability insurance.
Yes.
Renter's insurance is one of the cheapest insurance policies you can buy. It's often a couple $100 a year. And I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people spend way more than that at Starbucks. So
That's
it's
for sure.
a great policy. And if you buy renter's insurance from the same company that you have your auto insurance with,
Mm-hmm.
which most people do have auto insurance, then it's going to be even cheaper. So you get
Yeah.
a lot of benefit, a lot of value for renters.
There you go. Very good. That's so it does apply no matter to protect your belongings and of course first and foremost your family. So no matter where we live, Janet, we are predisposed to certain disasters because of inclement weather or what have you. What safety or matters or practical things that we can do to protect our family and home? Such you did touch on hurricanes. Right now it is the hurricane season. What does it run from June to the end of November, particularly in the East Coast? Is there anything you might want to add a little more on that?
Sure, I think it's important, no matter what the disaster you face, is to have an evacuation plan
Mm-hmm.
so that you and your family are prepared and have thought about, if some of us are at school and some are at work, where are we going to meet? Cell phone coverage often goes out during catastrophes, so we're very dependent on cell phones, but you may not have that luxury. So if you've at least talked about somewhere that you could all meet, then everybody has that same plan. Also, you may have other family members in a different area that would be able to contact each other for you. So an evacuation plan is very important for any catastrophe. And then for hurricanes, you know, there's a lot of things you can do to your home to make it much safer. Be sure to follow all those guidelines and evacuate early. Don't wait. And that goes for tornadoes, wildfires, earthquakes.
Yes.
You know, be sure to have the right insurance. Again, we talked about floods, but we didn't talk about earthquake, and those are also not part of your standard homeowner's insurance.
Very good. You know, it's well, it's just a matter, you know, of weighing the risk factor concerning flood. I'm thinking of New Orleans back in 2005 when we had that Hurricane Katrina. Yeah, maybe some may not know that New Orleans is 6 feet below sea level, and it's almost surrounded by water. You know, it's a beautiful city. However, you got to weigh the risk factor. So there's different
Well,
things you got
and
to.
it's important to have the
Yes,
hurricane and flood insurance if you live in an area that's predisposed to both catastrophes.
yes, very good. Wildfires. You know me, I enjoy hiking, Janet, with a backpack out in the woods, and it's and I sometimes think, well, wouldn't it be nice to build your home right here, in among the woods? You know, it'd be so picturesque, that sort of thing, and so pleasant. But that comes with some there's some risk as well, doesn't it? In fact, what can you tell us about how we can protect our homes with those homes that find themselves within the wooded areas, Janet?
Well, the building materials are key. If you
Oh,
use the proper building materials,
yes.
then you're going to be resistant to fire. The other thing is what surrounds your home. So we have 3 different zones. The first zone is the 1 to 5 feet from your home.
Hmm.
Make sure that's clear. There's no branches on your roof. You're not using mulch. You know, you would want to use stone, etc.
Yes.
And, you know, we advise people clear out to 30 or 100 feet, depending on their lot size, of brush and those type of flammable types of landscaping. Doesn't mean you can't have any trees or have any beauty, but you just need to pay attention to what burns and what doesn't, because some trees are much more resistant to fire than others. So this information is available and very important to pay attention to.
Yes. Very good. I believe it's what do they refer to? A defensive area. I believe it's what that's called. 30 to whatever the size of your lot might be. Yes. And I know you live in California, and so happens so do I. Earthquakes, of course, we're susceptible to earthquakes. Every once in a while, you know, we get shook up a little bit, but those tectonic plates, you know, they keep rubbing each other. You say that's an entirely different policy from hazard insurance. Is that correct?
Yes, you need to buy earthquake insurance if you want to be insured for an earthquake. In
Yes.
California, we have the California Earthquake Authority, as
Hmm.
some other companies that can write earthquake insurance specifically.
Yes.
And you usually have a higher deductible. There's also a lot of mitigation you can do to your home, especially if you have an older home. Brace and bolt the foundation. These things will make a huge difference in the event of an earthquake.
And of course, I understand that in California, there's the capital of the city, the capital of the U.S. for tsunamis, and that's Crescent City. I understand. I did some research on that, Janet. I believe since 1933, there's been 31 tsunamis, and I believe it's because of it indicated because of the West Coast topography. It tends to curve inland. Therefore, it encourages the water in that particular area, and there's Crescent City. And
I work a lot with the Southern California Earthquake Center, and they have a wonderful program to help people prepare for earthquakes and tsunami. And they give out a lot of really good information. They have Tsunami Preparedness Week every year. And this is not just a California program, but they are located in California. But they put out a lot of great information on how to prepare for a tsunami and what to look out for. And they do drills. So those cities like Crescent City, they all do drills every year. And they have a lot of warning signs out for people who are visiting so that they know to go to higher land if a tsunami is.
Yes. Yes, I think the largest tsunami was back in 1964, and to this day, some of the shop owners they've left the water line near the roof line. They can see it. I guess that's what turning lemonade into from a lemon. I guess it's a tourist attraction. they see how far the water came up to, but really good information. There's lots out there to educate yourself and to give thought and talk about where you're going to move and sometimes even pray about it by the looks of it.
Well, it's always important to know when you're buying a home what your risks are and think about it ahead of time. And one common mistake is people are excited about buying a home and they don't check on what the risks might be. And if they check in with an insurance company early in the process, then they can find out and they're not going to be surprised that maybe their insurance is going to be more expensive because of a particular catastrophe that they're going to.
Very good.
Other realtors can help quite a bit too by people understand it and not waiting till the week you're closing and then find out that your insurance is going to be really expensive because you're in a wildfire area or a flood zone, etc.
Very good. I know on the website there, Insurance Information Institute, you have where you can download information. Are there any flyers available?
Yes, we have a lot of articles and tips for potential homeowners and renters and business owners. And the website is very easy. It's iii.org. And great tips, great information on auto, home, business insurance.
Very good. Very good. So it's it's a serious discussion we're having, yet it goes along with the purchasing of a home. So there's lots of thought to give there. Janet, I sure appreciate the time you spent with us. I really do, and I want to encourage you to keep up the good work with the Insurance Information Institute. And again, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Ben. It was a pleasure to be with you today.
Hey, listeners, if you have a specific topic you want to discuss that is germane to the real estate industry, drop me a note at yourlotandparcel.com. And now, if you will excuse me.
This program has been produced by Isaac Diaz with music by Echo Foxtown. All the opinions expressed in this podcast are opinions only and should not be relied on. For more information, please visit the website yourlotandparcel.com.